Welcome to the March 17th, 2020 episode of Reactive Consciousness, our in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And we have a show that is kind of going to start off as a bummer, but we're not going to be breaking much news, as you probably already know a lot about it. But we beware the Ides of March, and...
No.
and no.
I still love that.
It was also Pi Day, the day before that.
It sure was. And before that, it was March 10th. Mario
Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mario Day. So it was an eventful, novelty
Yeah,
weekend.
I was going to say, eventful. Yeah, it was an eventful set of importance that we just attribute
days
to arbitrary times. Yeah.
Exactly. But we've been kind of avoiding talking about this just because it's a bummer and it sucks, but everybody's dealing with
this
it.
Is too big to be ignored.
It's too big to be ignored. But the coronavirus or COVID-19, is it 19? Yeah, it's 19,
yeah,
right?
19.
Has really taken a toll on the world, not just United States, so I'm sure all of our listeners are dealing with it no matter where they are. And it's affecting people's lives. Thankfully, American issues have been on the low side in terms of fatalities, and cases are a lot lower than I think I would expect.
Recorded cases, anyway.
Recorded, yes. So that's up for debate, of course. But the toll it's taken on, everything culturally has been probably the biggest I've ever seen in terms of a scale as far as national goes. I've seen, state and regional things happen, around hurricanes and things like that.
Of course.
But
yeah.
I've never seen a national thing be this impactful, other than 9/11. 9/11 is probably the thing that has that impacted people's lives nationally this.
And even then, we didn't all.
And it was a singular
stay
event.
Home, It was oh wow, it was a big impact, but you could still go out into the movies.
Well, there was a bit of there was a somber tone around the country.
There was absolutely a somber tone, but what I mean was there weren't places shutting down.
No, not officially, but there were plenty of places that like lower traffic and all that kinds of stuff. People didn't want to buy games and go to the movies.
There was
after
general
that happened.
nervousness and to a degree paranoia, but this is a disease, so it's don't no matter whose side anybody's on, don't go into a crowded situation.
Yeah, well, this is, if anything, I know this does. I'm not trying to make light of a virus that is, potentially life-threatening or even it is a serious matter, but there's. I don't know if you've been around other people, at the grocery store or whatever, but there's kind of this camaraderie.
I was going to say probably the one place I don't want to go to is a grocery store right now.
Well, it's some of the only places you have to go.
I know, that's the problem, but at the same time, that is the biggest, literally at this point, the biggest crowd you can find.
Yeah, but you have to go there. It's unavoidable.
Yep.
But what I'm trying to say is there's the people that I have been coming in contact with have a sense of camaraderie,
that's good, because I've heard some horror stories.
Yeah, at least in my area. I'm in eastern Pennsylvania. Few minutes away from Philly. Within 20 to 30 minutes away from Philly. I basically, the people at the checkout are how you doing, that kind of thing. Everybody's dealing with this.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are plenty of fight videos and stupid bullshit going on YouTube and all that other kinds of stuff. But from what I've seen, it's isolated. Nobody's been nasty at these places as I've seen. Maybe I've been lucky.
Yeah, my suspicion is that you've been lucky.
Well, also, I don't live in a gigantic city. I don't live in Philadelphia,
yeah.
So I would assume that things are much more tense in New York and Philadelphia and other big cities like Los Angeles, because like those places have been running out of supplies faster than other
how many
places.
pictures have we seen on social media with like the hand sanitizer and toilet paper aisles being completely empty?
Yeah, and it's a big shame too, and it's not even just that. It's things like chicken's like entirely sold out at my local Wegmans, which is a nice grocery store. South has the equivalent is a Publix if you're in the South. Very similar to Wegmans up here, but it's basically like probably a step down from Whole Foods in terms of like class, like kind of thing. But we also have the ShopRites and Acme, and I've actually been and Trader Joe's was decimated too, but probably the local grocery store chains have been a little bit better, like Acme, Giant, and ShopRite. I have been able to find things at.
Well, also due to general ignorance and paranoia, what other places have been pretty safe are like the Asian markets.
Yeah, support your Asian markets. The people there need your support, and they have good, healthy food. So definitely go there, and they have great products.
Well, I was also going to say, and they also didn't come to America fucking yesterday. They've been here.
I was going to say, if they really liked where they came from, they wouldn't have left.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. So I hate stuff like that, and I've been getting texts all day from my local my local takeout restaurants, like, we need your business, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, especially what Americans call Chinese food, like the American Chinese food.
All the supplies are American.
It's not even Chinese food. Like, what are you afraid of? Get the fuck
Fortune
over there.
cookies were originally made in San Francisco, for God's sakes. So, a lot of this stuff is made in New Jersey now. A lot of the chopsticks even come from New Jersey. I've noticed
for true authenticity.
New Jersey is a hub of this food.
New Jersey is diner land,
production and things like that. So, and distribution. So, I guess. And this is all because people are scared of being quarantined. And it is kind of a legitimate fear, but also, people are going crazy over the wrong things. Toilet paper is a comfort item.
You're not going to burn through all of your rolls in, a week. I know that some people go through it more than others, but, dude, really?
But my point is, you can also do without it. It may be inconvenient, but you... there are some countries that don't use it at all.
Well, not to mention, whatever you have in your house right now will last you tomorrow. Not to mention, there isn't a shortage of it.
No.
People are buying it out of the stores, but there isn't a shortage or a scarcity.
They're just stocking up for a month's worth or whatever.
It's like when their hurricane comes up, everybody buys all those cases of water. There will be more water.
Also, your sink works, but
yeah, no shit. I mean, depending where you live, but yes.
Yeah, but there's just been a lot of craziness going around that. I ended up getting food as well, but I didn't go crazy. I just got enough stuff to stock my freezer.
Yeah.
My brother is an oncologist, and he is at one of the hospitals that has coronavirus cases at the moment, and so he specifically told me to get that kind of thing. So, but I didn't go crazy. There are some people that are there are some people that are exploiting this by hoarding and reselling.
Oh, I heard the best story about one of those guys. You might have seen it, because he bought thousands of dollars worth of various products, like the aforementioned toilet paper and hand sanitizer and shit, and he was gonna gouge it, but nobody fucking bought it. And it's just like, oh no. So like eventually he made like internet news, and he was like, I don't want to be known as the fucking price gouging guy. So he like backpedaled super hard and said he would donate a bunch of the stuff. So like, all's well that ends well, I guess. But like that's some amazing Schadenfreude for a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a story I read, I forget where it was, about some Canadians that had been selling like hand sanitizer on Amazon for a markup that they had gone to Costco very early on.
Didn't Amazon eventually step in and crack down on stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, the supply lines are fine.
Yeah.
So luckily,
that's the thing. If you don't get any hand sanitizer today, like there will be more.
Yeah, part of what's happening right now in the grocery stores is a result of them not having like the grocery stores not having a moment to be able to restock.
Yeah.
And get back to where they were. So they're having issues like this, and my only big concern is actually this kind of stuff, because there are plenty of people that don't have the energy to go fight for toilet paper.
Yeah.
I'm a young, able-bodied person. My fiance works for a grocery store chain. I'm going to be okay. I also, it just stinks for people that, older folks, maybe people that don't have an immunocompromised issue or are ill to begin with,
or even the
with a
ability
different
to
illness.
drive around wherever.
Exactly.
Depending how old you are.
They're not going to have the effort to fight other people that are faster than them, to get to a line through a line and get to a pile of toilet paper that they have there. I'm fine now too, but I just hope that this hysteria doesn't last like longer than the month that I already have stuff for.
Yeah.
So like those are my concerns, but otherwise, it seems like we're relatively contained as far as official numbers go. Thankfully, one of the things that I think is really good is a lot of the local governments have been really good about this. In particular, I want to my county and my state's has shut down like all kinds of stuff, including the state-owned liquor stores, which is all the liquor stores we have. They've lots of sporting events have been completely canceled. The end of the NBA, and the NHL are suspended. Those are the two big ones, and the biggest one after that is probably March Madness got canceled, which is a huge event every year. Might be even bigger than the NBA Finals, actually, because March Madness is a huge deal, and that's for college.
What kind of got me, even though it's not as big of an impact, but the XFL just came back, so the fact that they're shut down,
they're already on the they're already down.
That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing stinks. I mean, no Broadway shows. Actually, New York has been like one of the best responses I've seen.
I mean, it better be. Like, New York City by itself is like, you got to do something.
Yeah, but like the how seriously they took it, they canceled all of Broadway shows, and people from all over the world come to New York specifically for that.
Yeah.
It's not just a national thing or a local thing. Broadway shows are a big deal. They're probably it is the number one spot for live performance probably in all of the world, that I know of. There might be something bigger.
Then it's close.
Yeah, it's one of the most renowned, at least, and it's a cultural touchstone and a center of cultural expression, and they have shut it down, which is a big deal. Also, the biggest video game events of the year have been canceled. E3, the biggest one, and GDC, Game Developers Conference, before that.
And, well, not only that, but those events did officially shut down, but even before they did, developer after developer were pulling out.
Yeah, and that's a good thing because that forced their hand to cancel these things. People get sick of these things to begin with.
Well, I know, I get sick more often than I don't when I go to fucking MagFest, and that's without
what I'm
the
trying
coronavirus.
To say. That's what I'm trying to say. Con plague is a real thing, and we don't need a con plague that actually kills people.
Yeah. By the way, I will say though, this is a bit of a lighter note. It was kind of a shit post, but Devolver Digital posted on Twitter that
games are canceled 2020.
Well, I forgot they actually did do that. Yeah, they posted E3 canceled before,
and they're like, "See, we told you."
No. But what I was saying when they announced that they themselves were pulling out, they said something like, "We regret that we're not going to be able to have like a live performance at E3." And the joke is that they always have like pre-recorded skits that they never have done live shows.
But everybody's taking this seriously, and that's a good thing. I mean, a lot of people that make frequent con appearances, James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, for instance, has canceled all of his stuff. Exactly, and it's a good thing that people are all in agreement with it.
I like going to conventions, but I don't like...
Me too.
I mean, con means like, with or together. Like, be careful.
Yeah, I mean... I don't want people getting hurt, and if we have to take a momentary break in order to, curb a bad situation, I'm all for it.
By the way, like, beyond conventions and Broadway and fun stuff, there's also more business-oriented and necessary things that have been, if not shut down, then at least dealt with. I'm not sure if this was like a state mandate or if places did this on their own. I think this first part is state mandated, but like in New Jersey, tons of schools and universities have closed.
My brother's hometown, they shut down school, and they shut down school in my county.
A bunch of libraries closed down. Again, that might have been their own decision, but they should be doing that anyway.
Yeah.
The university that I teach at closed down. Like, by pure coincidence, we've only lost 2 days, last week's Thursday and Friday, because the week that this podcast is going up just happens to be our spring break anyway, so we actually had some naturally given prep time anyway. But school will be in session next week, just no one's going to go to it. There's going to be like remote teaching and stuff like that. And if you're still living on campus, then that should be doable. And not everyone may have a computer wherever, but if you're still at the school, then there are computers.
I live in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and the big college around here is Westchester University. It's a big college, and they shut down. This is a big thing. All the local elementary, high school, middle schools all have shut down for the rest of the year, or are doing like some kind of teleconferencing.
Yeah, I don't like,
whatever.
My particular school, I don't think we have a set time for it to be shut down. It's just like until further notice. Like when we figure shit out, we'll be back. It's not like, it's definitely closed for the semester, but like we'll see.
A lot of colleges have ended for the year. Like physically. I know Harvard has.
Harvard sent everyone the fuck out. They actually handled it kind of sloppily. They were like, you have 3 days to pack your shit.
Get out of your fucking dorms.
What do you want to do?
Well, they're kind of right, though. I mean, like, the dorms are where this kind of thing is going to thrive. So, I'm just glad that people are taking this seriously. I mean, I've been cooking at home since this kind of things have happened, but definitely don't ignore your Chinese restaurants, because they've been feeling this thing for a long time because because of general xenophobia and ignorance. So, if you're gonna support a takeout place during all this, because you just want to do delivery and you don't want to go to a restaurant, definitely put one out for your Asian local restaurants, because they are really taking it on the chin. I don't have much else to say other than I think it's going to be a light time, while we're all experiencing this. Hopefully it doesn't happen for too long. I know Wuhan, their cases have peaked and gone down. So that's where the disease originated.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's the
um,
thing. Like, from what I've heard, the disease like sucks to have, but then eventually it's over. It's not like a lifetime affliction, as far as I'm aware.
well, no. It's similar to the flu. It's just more dangerous.
Yeah.
Um, they've been noticing that the people that have been affected by it the most are men over 50,
Yeah.
especially with heart conditions
Well, that makes
or
sense with like a bit weaker immune systems anyway.
yeah, they've been noticing a lot of people who have been smoking are
Yeah, yeah.
susceptible to it because of it's a respiratory thing
And from
and
from what I've
also
heard,
a heart thing.
children don't like contract it, but they still could potentially carry and transmit it.
Correct. They haven't been
So
really.
that's why, like, even
The
in
younger you are, the better.
yeah,
I
that's the
guess.
thing. Like, even in elementary schools, like, oh, this should be a safe haven. Like, well, not for you, the
Not really.
teacher. You know.
Yeah. So, just be careful. Minimize your contact. Lotus and I are hermetically sealed at the moment, so we are not touching. Uh,
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, there's already been jokes about this on Facebook, but it's like, oh wow, like Lotus is so ahead of his time with his, being antisocial. Like, what a hero! It's so funny.
but all jokes aside, minimize your contact. I am basically teleconferencing with my parents because my parents are um, both turning 60 this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or no, they're going to be 69 this year. And I may even have it, and I'm not even feeling bad, because it's one of those things like your
Yeah, it's
mileage
not
may
like the next
vary,
day. Yeah.
and you could be incubating it for up to 2 weeks.
Okay.
Is what they said, and some people's like symptoms are really mild, to the point where like they barely know that they're sick. They might think they have a minor cold or something. So
Mm-hmm.
um, that's how weird this thing is. But I'm teleconferencing with them because I encounter a lot more people with going to work and things like that than they
Yep.
do. They're retired. Um, and I also, I live with a pharmacist, so
Yeah, well, there you go. And like,
yeah,
I mean, like my mom also works at a university, so she's like, I mean, of course the students aren't going there anymore, but she does like administrative stuff, so she'll be
sure.
like barely going to the physical location for like an hour or two, but mostly doing things remotely. Like it'll be like me when I have to meet with my supervisor for a folder review. I'm probably gonna go to that for like an hour, where it's me and one other person, but otherwise that'll be it. And my dad works at a bank. He still goes there, but he said that traffic is just like dead.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
of course it is.
yeah. A lot of places are dead. I mean, streaming services and digital platforms have seen a huge surge.
Oh yeah,
I
no
mean,
shit. Yeah.
for instance, Netflix and Steam have had some of their biggest weekends ever.
Yeah, a friend of
Um,
mine actually, like online, was hopefully temporarily laid off from her job because like people can't go to the job, and so now
yeah.
she's become like full time, internet streamer.
So
She was
so
already a
here's the
streamer
thing.
anyway, but now it's full time.
I work for a very large company, and we're we're basically an essential institution,
Yeah,
worldwide. And we're a financial institution, and I work in a place that has a lot of people at it. Our campus is gigantic. However, I can do my job through like a work from home system, like a VPN.
mm-hmm.
So it may come
Yeah. My
to
mom's doing just that, doing
it,
like
it may
remote
come
work.
yeah, it may come to us doing work from home. We haven't had like any. We've prepared for it, luckily, and they had a system put in place so people could do it already.
Yeah,
So it's not like they need to set up a new infrastructure for it.
yeah. Oh, can you
However,
imagine
they
scrambling for that shit?
they have been testing it, and it's possible that we could be home for a couple weeks or
Mm-hmm.
whatever when the time comes. So
By the way,
uh,
one thing I want to give a little bit of a shout out to is on Discord. I noticed the last time I went on to voice chat, a little pop-up message came up. This was a few days ago. I've never used their Go Live feature where you could share screens and stuff like that, but I got the little pop-up anyway that said that in light of the coronavirus, if you ever wanted to use Discord for like educational purposes to show a bunch of people things or whatever, they've upped the maximum amount of allowable people for going live from 10 to 50, which is kind of cool.
That's really good. In fact, there were some people like we know a lot of teachers because that's how we met. We met.
Yeah, we were in a graduate education program.
Yeah, we have a lot of mutual friends, and even some of them are contemplating like using like like MMOs as like
well, that's
like
actually a genius
rooms.
idea because MMOs were designed from day one to be
have
able
millions
to
of people,
hold,
thousands of people.
Holds tons. Yeah, like Skype wasn't ready for like 1,000 million people all at one time, but MMOs are designed for that very thing.
Yeah, so some people were talking about using Overwatch because it's free as a way of doing it.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
It actually is really smart. It's kind of funny that that's what they have to resort to, but
yeah, or you could use some like free to play MMO like
well, Overwatch, or I mean
Overwatch
Fortnite. Well, I meant Fortnite because Fortnite's free.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Fortnite the Battle Royale, or like a free to play MMO like I think Elder Scrolls might be free.
Most MMOs are free besides Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft. Yeah, those are the only two that I think you really have to pay for right now. All the rest of them, like Star Trek, is free.
Oh yeah, Star Trek is free. Yeah,
and that's a pretty big one. Like a lot of MMOs are free, right?
Yeah.
As a result. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. But I mean, just stay safe, people. I mean, I've minimized my interaction with my friends. I'm a very social person. I'm always doing a social function every single weekend, or usually multiple times a week, seeing a different group of friends or whatever. And I'm just not doing it. I'm staying home and I'm cooking for my fiance.
I already don't do that, so you may not like the way it looks, but this is what peak performance looks like. This is the ideal. This is the ideal social lifestyle.
What I'm saying is, it's not so bad. I've done a few things. I mean, I'm working on packing right now because I just bought a home and we're attempting to move from our apartment. So at least I have a thing to do. You know what I mean? So
yeah, all of a sudden, a lot of people are like, time to binge watch this or that, or play some game for a while.
You could have already done that.
I know.
But I guess this also like simplifies some people's lives. Like I didn't even think about this, but like some people's social functions might be like tied to other members of their family, like Girl Scouts, for instance, that kind of thing. And this might simplify a lot of families' plans, and actually kind of make it easier for them because they don't have to go to all those social functions.
Can you imagine those parents who have like those ultra busy kids who are in like 16 clubs and functions and that? Like, I am staying home.
Like everybody's sports season is cut off. Especially
like the
juniors.
Soccer moms, like a third of their lives are like in the minivan. Like now they could take a freaking break.
Yeah, it's actually maybe this might. I am looking for a positive in a negative situation here, but maybe people might learn to simplify their, do some Henry David Thoreau kind of stuff here and simplify their lives after this. But
I get that.
I won't bet on it. But I'm certainly not liking that I have to worry for my safety and my family's safety and my fiance's safety. All constantly, I have to worry about me and my fiance on a daily basis just because of the nature of her job. So it's just and I have to worry about my brother as well because he's a physician. So it's just a nerve-wracking time, but maybe playing with the Rubik's cube in the basement while hurricane happens isn't so bad.
Yeah, I'll be playing more God of War PS4, baby. I actually finished Cuphead
Top
today.
wise, Lotus. Top wise.
Top wise. No, but I actually got every achievement in Cuphead. I refuse.
Good for you.
I refuse to go for all S ranks. That's fucking bullshit. But
why?
I got all the for the ultimate bragging right, but no thanks. I'll take my 100% and leave.
I've actually been playing it a bit on the Switch since you brought it up. So
yeah, I heard that at least 2 bosses have differences from the PC version. The genie and one boss that you have not met yet because it's on the 3rd island. And there may be more, but I don't know.
I just beat the frogs again. Boy, I do. I love that fight.
You know, even though they're on the 1st island, I played them on expert difficulty. Man, it's a lot harder.
They're not easy.
I mean, like, I got an A+ on regular, so I was like, well, expert shouldn't be so bad because even though it's harder, I'm not going for S, so I could take 3 hits. But I still died on them multiple times. So I was like, God damn.
They're not easy. Even on the easiest setting, they're tricky. Especially when they get to the slot machine.
That was my problem. Like, I lost all 3 hits on the slot machine. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, no, the slot machine's difficult. But
the animations are just faster.
So it's so much fun. I love it.
What the funny thing is, though? I accidentally got 1 S. And it was the freaking clown. He gave me such a freaking miserable time on regular difficulty, and then I fucking S him. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I also beat the blimp too, and that was pretty fun. The first shmup stage.
Yeah, she gave me a lot of grief. On expert, I had less trouble with even the genie on expert because again I wasn't trying to A+ it, but the blimp. Damn, she gave me some problems, especially that 3rd phase, because I forgot how the UFOs worked.
Yeah. All right, well, we should get into other news. I mean, just keep safe. I don't know what else to say other than it's a big deal, and take it seriously.
One other thing I will throw out there is everybody and his mother wants hand sanitizer, but apparently soap is still accessible. Wash your damn hands, use some soap. Hand sanitizer is good for when you go other places. But, at home, just soap and water, dude. Come on.
Yeah, seriously. Actually, it's more effective than hand sanitizer.
Especially soaps that are specifically antimicrobial.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on. In terms of new releases, Ori and the Will of the Wisps was just released on Steam,
cool.
And I think Microsoft Windows Store and Xbox One.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna play that, but
I'm going to.
Yeah, I do actually want to because I played the first game and it was brilliant, and it part of why I'm intimidated by a bunch of Metroidvanias is I'm afraid that they'll be too big and wear out their welcome. But Ori really wasn't like that, especially because you could teleport from one location to another, like Symphony of the Night style. Mm-hmm. Very useful.
What I also like about this game is it's definitely on the Metroid side of things, so meaning there aren't level ups and stats, unlike the Castlevania games, which are RPG.
Yeah,
slanted.
You can increase, or at least in the first game, you can increase the potency of your attack and stuff.
Yeah, but that's a Metroid thing. That's the bare minimum of progression in terms of strength and life.
Well, that's the thing. Most of what you get is additional moves or whatever, which is very Metroid. But you could also straight up level up your base attack, which felt a little bit different. I guess super missiles.
What I liked about the first Ori was number one the story and the art.
The art was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. A beautiful, beautiful game. But also that it was a skill-based challenge most of the time. So
you mean as opposed to grinding and then just button mashing your way through everything?
Yeah, so a lot of what's fun about Ori is the way that Ori moves and the skills, the move set that Ori has is very based on traversal.
That's
so therefore, later on in the game, a lot of the challenges come from using your move set in order to get from one place to another without getting hurt.
Yeah, clever platforming. It's I don't know how relatable this will be to everybody, but it's kind of like the first couple of rooms of the Hell level and Cave Story.
Yeah.
You have to do these weird, precise jumps, and then the enemies start. In Ori, some of the most challenging stuff is just navigating this set of spike walls without touching the spikes and things like that.
for people that may have been turned off by the difficulty of Hollow Knight, Ori was right in the sweet spot where it
Yeah,
was
Ori was
challenging
not
but
supposed
not
to be Souls
frustrating.
hard. Yeah.
Whereas Hollow Knight, it has extremely difficult platforming challenges in it, and to the to the point where there's an optional section that is one of the hardest goddamn things I've ever played in my life.
Yeah.
It was so fucking difficult. But Ori's is challenging but satisfying, kind of like in a Portal-y kind of way. And I really, really enjoyed it. It has like the feel of maybe a Ghibli production in terms of its quality and storytelling and art.
Yeah, not the anime look, but it's definitely
No,
like pretty.
it has more of a Chinese look to it than a Japanese look, if you ask me, in terms of art style. Um, but it definitely has an Asian flair for sure. But it doesn't. It's not very anime-y. It kind of has. It'll conjure up feelings like maybe a Pixar movie would. It has like some kind
Yeah.
of heart-wrenching moments and things like that in it. But the sequel apparently has all of that stuff, and is still really good. The only thing that I'm going to say as a caveat, from apparently what I've heard, is that the performance is not the best right now. Apparently
It did just come out. I mean, the first game had to be patched a few times.
yeah, so apparently it doesn't run as well as it could. Pardon me, but what you could do is wait a little bit, and I'm sure it will be updated.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it always happens.
I'm sure probably in about maybe a year or so, this will probably hit Switch platforms, maybe if not sooner.
Not to mention that the first game had a definitive edition, which came with an extra level and a little bit of extra moves. So who knows? Maybe that'll happen with this one too. I don't know.
Sure, but I would the price for entry into this one is very low. It's only $30 for a top quality Metroidvania, one of like a sequel to one of the best.
Yeah, that was the first game was iconic.
I would say like if I was going to suggest a Metroidvania, like or the original Ori would be on the top here. So I haven't played this one, but I'm sure it's right up there. It seems like the first impressions are that way as well. So I would definitely give this one a go. Especially in a time when there isn't like a whole lot being released. Well, there will be later on in the month where we're gonna get to two of the biggest releases pretty soon. That being Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing. But until then, this is a good stopgap for sure. Moving on, I did in anticipation for Doom for when that comes out. I can't freaking wait for Doom Eternal. But one of the coolest, like badass things about Doom Eternal is that they're also re-releasing Doom 64.
Yeah, on PC.
On
that's
PC,
what people have wanted for like 20 years.
And all other consoles as well.
Yeah.
And officially, and they are adding content to it, like actual
which is
content.
frankly a good move because there have been unofficial and under the table ways of playing Doom 64 on PC for years. So if they're doing this new chapter, that'll revitalize the wants to actually go buy it for real.
So what's also kind of cool about this is I think one of the developers of one of the unofficial ways of playing Doom 64 on the PC it has been working on this.
There you go. I did hear, I mean, I don't know about the extra content, but I did hear that the official Doom 64 release is basically the unofficial version.
Yeah, but this is really cool. I mean, they said that this is going to be the definitive version, even amongst like the fan made ones, and sometimes that isn't true. Like sometimes the an official version of something comes out, and you still want to play the unofficial version.
Yeah.
But apparently they're saying that this is going to be great. Like they did all kinds of work to it.
Nice.
It looks better. They said that it looks better than the N64 could ever do with the environments. They up-resed it. Yeah, but what they're doing is they're not just using what was in those games. They're kind of up-resing and remaking the game.
Sure.
So apparently the engine is based off of the console engine of Doom from before that, like the Jaguar and PlayStation versions and all that stuff.
Okay.
But it's all spruced up again, apparently, and they're adding a whole new chapter.
So get ready for those invisible imps and your sweet, weirdly double-bladed chainsaw.
Yeah, and the Unmaker as well. The Unmaker's the
Unmaker?
big weapon.
And
big weapon.
paint elementals that look very different for some reason. That amalgamation of two heads, they just totally changed the look. Like, I mean, okay, I guess.
And a lot of people may not know this because unless you played it like Lotus and I have in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
But this is basically the third Doom game in the Doom story.
Yeah, the real Doom 3 is basically a remake or a reinterpretation of Doom 1, where Hell starts to show up on the Phobos base. It's kind of like a reimagining. But yeah, Doom 64 is like the game that takes place after Doom 2.
Yeah. After, probably what Plutonia experiment, I would assume. So anyway,
I don't know where Final Doom plays into the timeline. I mean, it's called Final, so maybe after 64.
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean,
gotta follow that deep
John
lore
Carmack always said that what the fuck do you want a story for?
I know. Well, like Iga said the same thing about Castlevania. Like, he regrets putting dates for the timelines in the games because people are like, what's the continuity? It's like, dude, who fucking cares? You're going through the same castle and fighting Dracula every time. It's fun. Just play the game.
Yeah. But I think what they're going to do is they're with that final chapter of Doom 64. I hope that they bring it tied to Doom 2016. They put you in the sarcophagus at the end of it or something like that.
Freeze you. That would be crazy.
That's what I'm hoping because why not? Why not?
Well, yeah. How did you get put into a weird sarcophagus in the first place?
Yeah. So I'm thinking that that's what they're going to do with it. But I'm super excited. I mean, not only do I want to play fucking Doom Eternal, which from all the early impressions of all the people that would be critical of it, all of them are saying it's amazing. So
there is one thing I hope from Doom Eternal. I've already expressed my hope that it has the Doom 2 Hell on Earth experience with modern lens because that'd be great. But one thing I'm really hoping for is something that Doom 2016 low-key promised and then didn't really deliver on, which, the opening scene where you get this big exposition dump on the computer. You're like, I'm Sam, and you're going to need to follow these instructions. And you're like, shut the fuck up, and you rip the computer off and just throw it. You're like, this is an action game, motherfucker, and you're like, yeah! But then every single other talkie scene in the game, you have to sit through it. And it's like, wait. So I'm hoping Doom Eternal...
That first one was glorious, though.
That first scene was so good, but, it set up a premise that it didn't follow up on.
Yeah, but the attitude was there. I mean, the bad guy, I forget his name, but he's just don't to shut this thing down. All you need to do is, and then you just fucking wreck it.
Yeah, well, that was just through audio though, so you were just playing the game at that point. But
I love that.
when people stop you when you see them in person, they talk to you. You're just sitting there, oh, this isn't the opening cutscene.
Yeah. But I'm super fucking excited. Doom 2016 is probably in my top 20 games of all time. It's way up there. It might even be in my top 10.
To that game, not achievement wise, but I got all the in-game content.
Yeah, so did I. I think I ended up upgrading all my weapons as far as I could do it at the time.
I got all the runes. I got all the classic Doom levels,
secret areas,
which by the way are very. Most of those levels...
They're not easy to find.
No, they're really not. But, those levels, though, a lot of them are from Doom Episode 1, and those levels are fucking jokes. But those levels become actually scary when you replace the enemies with Doom 2016 enemies.
Oh, yeah.
When the humans actually know how to aim, and, the Pinky Demons take up the whole hallway, and you're like, oh, fuck, and you can't hit them from the front.
Pinky Demons are no joke in Doom 2016.
Well, yeah, the gimmick in Classic Doom was you ran into them in hallways like a maze, and you're like, it's scary because they're running at me. But, in Doom 2016, you can't really hit them from the front, so one Pinky will fuck you up if you fight in a tight hallway.
Oh, sure.
So all of a sudden, this basic level becomes super hard.
Yeah. But, this is I believe being produced by Night Dive Studios, which has done a fantastic job at preserving games like this.
Yeah, Night Dive's done a lot of resurrection of games, and they're currently working on a
Turok
remake.
2,
Yeah, well, they've taken tons of old PC
System
games
Shock.
that don't run anymore and made them run again on modern platforms, but they're also developing a remake of System Shock 1.
Yeah.
And if they're working on this new Doom, then that's cool too.
Yeah, they worked on getting System Shock 2 published on GOG at the time.
And one. And also, like, weird shit. I think they did Harvester, and I have them out that I'm a Scream. Like, stuff that you forgot was a thing. D, the game, which they, like, optimized to make it widescreen. They
tried to do No One Lives Forever and couldn't make that happen. That's really a shame, tried.
But yeah, if any company would go for something like that, it would be them.
They started to be like, okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and, like, fix it up anyway and announce that we're doing it and see, like, if we can get away with it with, like, what we have right now. And apparently, like, WB gave them a cease and desist, so...
They could go fuck themselves. What are they doing with No One Lives Forever?
Nope, nothing. That's the real reason. But anyway, so super excited. But moving on from that, Reggie Fils-Aime from formerly of Nintendo and Pizza Hut.
That's right. Yeah, former CEO of Nintendo of America.
Nintendo of America is now on the GameStop board of directors.
Yeah, hopefully he can revitalize.
He's a great CEO, so you know. Who knows what he thinks he could do for GameStop. Ultimately, I think the direction that they're going is a pretty good one. They're trying to turn it into like almost like a net cafe kind of thing.
It's a good idea. Get people together.
And also they're focusing more on merchandise and novelties, which is a way to curb the fact that games aren't going to be physical for much longer, at least as a norm. So I think it's cool that they're basically rebranding themselves as kind of like a nerd store, rather than a game store. But I'm seriously worried about like just their business model in general. Yeah. Reggie is going to be a great CEO, but like, I just don't, I don't know what the future is for a company that completely relies on the sale and churning of used items when we don't have a market for used items anymore. That's really the sad end of it. Is like I want GameStop to exist. I used to work for GameStop and I hated them when I worked there. I don't like a lot of what they did in the past and a lot of the ways that they treat their employees. But on the other hand, they're the only dedicated video game store we have in America. The only other closest retail store that's national would be Best Buy. That's all we would have left in terms of like a technology-based company to carry these items, and then after that, department stores.
Yeah, like Target and Walmart.
Target, yeah. Walmart, Costco. Those are the big ones. So if GameStop goes away, then a big touchstone in the retail business for America, for our hobby, is going to go away. I wish that they were not the only game in town. Like, if we still had EB Games, that would help them strive for innovation, because there would be a lot of competition. But
remember Babbage's
Software, etc. They were a bunch of different things. A Funkoland.
Yeah.
Planet X was another brand that they snatched up. So
Game Crazy.
Game Crazy was actually not bought up by them. They just went out of business.
Yeah.
So, but they were the only one left after them and EB merged. So, let's hope that he could do some good and inject some life into the brand. Moving on from that, this is take this with a grain of salt. This is based off of huge speculation and rumors and he said, she said kind of stuff. But apparently there is a rumor going around that there will be possibly a Sony is working with Konami on at least one, if not two, Silent Hill games.
Yeah, I mean, that sure would be interesting, because I heard that, like, Kojima Productions might be involved, and just my immediate first thought was, like,
No.
Kojima is willing to work with Konami? Like, are you
Exactly.
fucking...
Yeah. I've heard other parts of the rumor, like apparently maybe the Siren team, which is made out of
well, the Siren team is
former
Team Silent.
Team
Yeah,
Silent
they were
people
like Silent Hill
might be
OGs,
involved in
yeah.
it. Yeah, they might be involved in it. So take that with a grain of salt, but I think that might, seeing as though that the PS5 is probably looking for a good, like, thing to prop it up in terms of an exclusive.
That would do it.
Something that people would talk about that maybe might not be a huge financial success, but will get it in the news and get nerds like us talking about it.
Yeah,
This would be a huge thing.
It's like Shenmue. Like, how good is that series really? But like, its fans are diehards.
Exactly, and it would be a really good thing for them to launch with something like this, or around launch time, in order to get people. I'll buy a PlayStation 5 for a new Silent Hill game. Hell yeah, like a good one.
As is the case with everything else, I will buy a PS5 several years after it comes out.
Yeah, you haven't even bought a Switch yet, and you intend to. So
yeah,
eventually.
like, I mean, is it gonna fucking discount Nintendo? Do you know what discounts are? Are you gonna do it sometime? That'd be great.
They don't need to. People are buying it.
That's what pisses me off. Like, I'll wait, Nintendo. I've done it before. Wii's are $80. I could still make this happen.
I mean, they're selling really well right now, so I don't think they need your help, or the help by.
I'll just sit on my
it.
5 Switch games for a couple more years. Then I don't care.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, take this with a grain of salt. This came out of a website that this is like a small website, but apparently they're hearing like they're talking to a lot of PlayStation devs that have kind of heard about this. So like I said, take this with a grain of salt. Other people have kind of it's a website called Rely on Horror. It's not like a site that's known for really anything other than fan stuff and that kind of thing. And it's also a smaller website, so take it with a grain of salt. It wasn't broken by something like Kotaku or
I know.
US
Anytime
Gamer.
anybody talks about Silent Hills, like, it's been how long since the PS4 launched? My general reaction is, shut up, it's fucking dead. So, like, I'll believe it when I see actual evidence of it. Instead of somebody posting the screen cap of Norman Reedus from the end of the PT trailer and going like, oh, Silent Hills. Is like, yeah, I saw that years ago, thanks.
Yeah, like I said, take it with a huge fucking grain of salt, because as much as I want this to happen, I also am very cautious about listening to this kind of thing.
News and speculation about Silent Hills for years, and so far none of it has been news.
I don't have much of a hard time believing maybe the Siren, the old Team Silent people might return, but I have a hard time believing that Kojima would want to work with Konami after such a public breakup.
Even Team Silent coming back would be cool, but the last, like, over half of Silent Hill games made have been by, like, outside devs. Haven't most of them been Western, in fact?
Starting with Silent
Origins?
Hill Origin, yeah, and what, Shattered Memories around the same time, right?
Yeah, they were both PS2.
Yeah.
Well, Origins was actually PSP first.
Yeah.
And Shattered Memories was PS2 and Wii. Then Homecoming was made by, I forgot who, but it was a Western dev.
And so was Downpour. Yeah.
And then I actually didn't realize this.
Way Forward made Book of Shadows.
Way Forward's usually so good about
Book of Memories.
Retaining the classic feel of the games they're doing. Like, remember Shantae for the Game Boy Color? What if we had like that kind of game, but way more gorgeous with way more shit to do? But their Book of Memories game was very like
meh.
well, that's obvious. But I mean, like, it was just a whole different concept.
Yeah.
Like a multiplayer dungeon crawler? Like, what?
Well, anyway, we have to move on. Dragon Marked for Death, which is a pretty popular 2D RPG, is getting a huge update to a 3.0 patch. It's coming on April 21st. So this looks like to be a lot of fun, but it's basically like a beat 'em up mixed with an RPG. Looks like you have several party members. Kind of looks like a little like a Tales game, but like instead of going into a battle mode, you're always in that mode.
Oh, okay.
But it looks like a lot of fun. It's one of Inti Creates games, of course, and Inti Creates usually makes a really good game, except for Mighty Number 9, of course. But apparently a lot of people like this, and it's getting a 3.0 update, so that's pretty cool.
Is the 3.0, does that stand for the 3 hours of credits that they're going to play at the end of the game?
Come on. Cheap shot. Okay. The Inti Creates has made plenty of other good games other than that one bad game. I know, you just mentioned Mighty Number 9 that I was just like, oh, man. Well, they made the Mega Man Zero games, and they're good.
Yeah, those games are great.
Yeah. In fact, I want to give a quick shout out. The Mega Man Legacy collections have kind of been all over the place in terms of quality. The first two were made by Digital Clips, and it had some lag issues. And the Mega Man X collection was slightly better, and this is control lag, is what I'm saying, and that's very important in this. But the newest one, the Mega Man X ZX Legacy Collection, is fucking fantastic. It's probably one of the best collections I've played in a long time. It has remastered music and voices and cutscenes and art. And that's a huge deal for games that were originally on a compromised format.
Mm-hmm.
The sound, the music, and the sound of the DS and GBA games were not very good.
Yeah.
They're highly compressed.
I mentioned this 1 or 2 weeks ago, but look up that BioWare Sonic game, because some of that music, the music itself is good, but the quality is just terrible.
Well, they're highly compressed, especially in the GBA game's case, and it's completely remastered, and it sounds great. This is the definitive way to play all 6 of those games, and I give it like an A+ in terms of quality of a collection.
Great.
So it's really, really good. I would definitely pick it up if you like Mega Man X style games, for sure. Moving on. Speaking of old style ports, ACA Arcade Archives,
of course.
Released a new game in their collection, Kiki Kaikai this time around. So Kiki Kaikai is the original Pocky and Rocky game. If you like the Pocky and Rocky games for SNES and GBA, this is the first game, and it's a lot of fun. It's an overhead shmup that is cute and has a shrine maiden and like ancient Japanese demon thing going on with it in terms of
the projectiles you shoot are those
seals.
Those demon seals, like those, they look like the pieces of paper with characters on them that you stick to demons and it dispels them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you have like a brush that you also can purify demons with.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's really good, and they did a really good job with the port. I'm also really glad that Arcade Archives has been getting a lot more Taito games, because some of them are really underrated and really, really good still. So I would watch out for them. I mean, they've been releasing all kinds of other good Taito games, like including the original Ninja Warriors, which is a 3-screen game that never got a
crazy.
A port that preserved that aspect of it.
Yeah, and when Vice says the original Ninja Warriors, like, not the Super Nintendo game, the one before that.
Yeah. It's kind of an old school style game. It's similar to, it's like a single plane beat 'em up, a lot like in the line of maybe like Shinobi or even like
It makes you think
Kung
of
Fu.
Kung Fu, yeah.
Kung Fu is like the best analog, but it's still a really good game. But Kiki Kaikai on its own, really great game, and I have a feeling that they're going to remake Pocky and Rocky 1 at least. That
That'd be great, 'cause that
Natsume
game's
group,
fucking expensive.
that Natsume group that remade Wild Guns and Ninja Warriors Reloaded is working on a third game, and the only other games that I know of that they made were Pocky and Rocky 2. So I have a good feeling that they're going to be remaking those. Moving on, another remake that is apparently getting pretty good critical acclaim is Langrisser 1 and 2, which released on Switch and PS4. We actually got the original Langrisser back in the 16-bit days. It was released and westernized as Warsong on the Genesis.
Yeah, and like we never got any other Langrisser games, did we?
We got...
except for like very recently when we were starting
yeah.
to like, but I mean, like otherwise we never, like, it just kind of never happened.
Yeah, this is one of the tentpole like strategy series in Japan that like we basically didn't have much reverence for. It's kind of like sort of related to Growlancer, which we did get have more access to the Growlancer games. I think we got all the way up to 5 on that. But yeah, this is apparently a lot of people really like this remake, and it's especially good considering that the version of Langrisser 1 that we got, which was called Warsong, was heavily changed in terms of art style, and the characters' names and things like that were changed.
Yeah.
It was very much westernized, made to look like a Western game. They took out like the anime-ness of all the portraits and all that kind of stuff. So apparently people are really loving this, and it pretty much, even compared to like a fan translation of the original version of Langrisser 1 and 2, this is like the way to play it. So really good stuff. 1 and 2 are like the best games of the series. I think particularly 2 is supposed to be like the best one. Moving on from that, Ship to Shore Media, which is famous for releasing a lot of badass vinyl soundtracks of video games, in particular Konami ones. They are in line for producing Life Force, which is one of the Gradius spin-offs, and that is coming out later on in the month on the 24th, March 24th. This is really cool. It has a great soundtrack, and the cover is just really neat. Did you check out the cover for this, Lotus? Did you see it?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna drop it in the in the chat. Yeah, because I think you're going to enjoy it. It is cool looking. It's kind of similar to their Castlevania ones,
okay.
But let me see here. Let me Ship to Shore. Yeah, let me see whether I can get this.
And in the meantime, by the way, one thing I noticed, because I was talking about Cuphead earlier, I played on GOG. When I logged onto GOG, I noticed that Mortal Kombat 4 is now available on GOG, which is kind of amazing. It's not the most popular Mortal Kombat, but I remember thinking it was so damn cool when it first launched. It's like, yo, 3D Mortal Kombat? It's like War Gods, but better.
Or Biofreaks.
Yeah, I never actually played Biofreaks, but I think I might even still have War Gods on PC. I don't know if I can launch it.
But yeah, I just dropped this in there. Take a look at that. It's pretty cool.
Okay. By the way, Mortal Kombat... Oh, that's pretty sexy. Mortal Kombat has... Mortal Kombat 4, I should say, has what some people have said from the same character. One of the best fatalities in the Mortal Kombat series, and one of the worst fatalities in the Mortal Kombat series. Do you have any guesses as to which character it is?
Is it Johnny Cage? Does he have a...
That's a fair guess, but no. Quan Chi, a character who was not literally new to the series, but let's just say he was, because nobody played fucking Sub-Zero Mythologies. He was...
his portrait
his
on the
face on the
side of the
cabinet.
fucking cabinet. Oh my god, it's so
good.
funny.
No, but the best fatality, arguably the best fatality in the series, is he rips off your leg and beats you with it, but like it just doesn't stop. It's just like, he wins. Fatality. He's still beating you. It's like, oh shit. It's like grotesque and kind of hilarious. The worst fatality is just hilarious. He grabs you by the head and pulls your head up so your neck stretches like a giraffe. So you have this goofy long neck and you just kind of walk around and then fall over. It's totally bloodless and it's the stupidest, most cartoonish looking thing.
And they're both by him, huh?
Yes.
That's
like he
funny.
will endlessly beat you with your own leg and he'll just kind of go and stretch your head up and then you just walk around with this goofy cartoon character, just kind of tip over.
That's hilarious.
That's it. It's like, what? That was okay.
But yeah, I have to describe what the cover looks like for Life Force here at least. So it is like King Tut's sarcophagus,
like the famous mask,
but like splitting down the middle in the middle of space with some kind of like mechanical face,
alien being like inside it,
underneath it, and that's splitting to reveal like the final boss of the Gradius games, which is this like brain with an eyeball.
Yeah.
That's really badass. I thought that was really
sick,
cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to Mortal Kombat 4, apparently they did a lot of really good work by including modernizing features with this, including what's called the 3DFX mod. I'm not really entirely sure what exactly that does, but I'm sure it cleans up resolutions and helps it run better. And also there's widescreen mode and modern, like true widescreen, not just like a stretched one, and modern resolutions.
Oh, by the way, starting in Mortal Kombat 9, on like PS3 360, you know how they would do those X-ray moves?
Oh yeah, sure.
Mortal Kombat 4 was kind of the origin of those. There was Bone Breaker moves, where it didn't go into a whole scene, but like they would snap your arm or something. It would just do a bunch of damage. Just like the X-ray moves, half of those are obviously fatal, except they're not. They just do damage to your health bar. You're like, oh, okay. Like one of them like takes your leg and just like snaps it in the other direction, but then, it's fine. It was just visual, I guess. But it was grisly at the time.
This is pretty cool considering that Mortal Kombat 4 is very unsung, and there really hasn't been a port of it.
God, man, you can play as Fujin.
Yeah, there hasn't been a port of it in a very long time, and
it was on like, what was it on? N64 and PS1?
N64 and PS1. Yeah, and I think the N64 was the the version to play, and this is much better. Considering that like Mortal Kombat games have like kind of a weird release on PC, like the GOG version of 1, 2, and 3 is the DOS versions of Mortal Kombat for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why you would want those. Like getting the arcade version, the actual arcade ports of Mortal Kombat's actually kind of hard. I think only PlayStation PlayStation 3 might be the only system that has them. I can't honestly think of like true arcade ports of the Mortal Kombat games, like whether they're available anywhere else. So it's I don't know why it's like that, but who knows. But anyway, moving on. I thought this was pretty neat. Did you see this video where Nintendo and Lego are teaming up? They announced that they're teaming up.
I did not see the video, but I know that they're teaming up, and that's kind of a match made in heaven.
Yeah, especially considering that Nintendo, one of the very first things that they did as a toy company, like back in the day in the 70s and 80s, is they made a Lego ripoff.
Yeah, there was. This is gonna drive me freaking insane because I forgot what video game it was, but there's some like old game, like on the NES or Super NES or something, where you're jumping across what look like Lego blocks.
It's Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins.
That's what it is?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like that. Yeah, that is what it is, actually. Yeah, it looks like the Lego level. You're like, how did they get away with this? But, yeah, it's not Lego.
Well, what's really cool about this is that for the first time that I've known this, they're incorporating mini LCD screens in the toys. Like Mario's figure that you have that's made out of like the Lego parts, has like mini screens in his like mouth, his chest, and his eyes, so he can emote like electronically.
Oh, that's crazy.
And he does like his one that his chest has reacts to whatever you're placing it on. So like
Okay.
if like all of this is very technology oriented. Like they'll have like a Goomba piece, for instance, and you can put Mario on top of it, and it will make like the Goomba stomping sound,
Oh, that boop.
and yeah, and it will also show up on the screen on his chest.
Oh, that's wild.
So you can make basically your own mini 2D Mario levels at with like piranha plants and even with
That's
Bowser
cool.
at the end, and like you can even have him go into a pipe and it will make pipe sounds.
Nice.
Just like really really cool stuff. It
So
looks like
is this like the next evolution of something like Lego Dimensions?
Yeah, that's what it kind of like seems like, because there's all kinds of RFID stuff used, and looks like there's all kinds of really fun things like you could do with it. Like you can make your own maze and levels that kind of run in like a 2D format, and just have him jump around and react to different things, even collecting coins and
Nice.
and reacting with other characters. It's really cool looking. I'm sure it will be expensive.
Yeah,
because
Lego's
it's
always
Lego,
expensive, and so is fucking Nintendo. But
but
actually,
it's charming as shit.
yes. You know what? You know what I'm wondering? If they go the other way and make one of those Traveler's Tales Lego games of Nintendo,
That'd be really neat.
that'd be cool as hell.
That would be really neat. Could you imagine if they made another like 2D Mario game, but like in Lego style? That would be really
Oh
neat.
man, that would be interesting. No, they re-released Six Golden Coins, but that one level looks slightly different. There's
Yeah.
Lego brand name on it. You're like, oh, okay.
I definitely recommend watching the YouTube video, the trailer for this, because it is really charming as hell. It's really cool. Moving on from that, this was a big surprise. Sega announced that there will be a new Panzer Dragoon game that is not the remakes of Panzer Dragoon 1 and 2 that have already been being worked on.
Yeah, so this is gonna be what, the fourth or fifth game ever, and the last one was made like in the Saturn era, or maybe slightly later.
Yeah, well, no, the
Well,
last
actually, that's
one was
not true.
Xbox.
Order was Xbox. Yeah.
But OG Xbox.
Yeah, there's Panzer Dragoon 1 and 2, and Saga, and Orda, right? Or was there any, like,
And-
mobile or stuff, handheld stuff?
The only other things that you can really count, there was Panzer Dragoon Mini for the Game Gear.
Okay.
There was also Crimson Dragons, kind of like a spiritual successor kind of thing for the Xbox One. It's not
Dragon
very
Guard.
good. Lair.
No. Yeah, I should play Lair, actually.
Yeah, apparently it's pretty good now that's all fixed up.
Well, yeah, now that
like years
they
later.
took off that stupid 6-axis shit, yeah.
But this is a pretty cool concept. Sega's kind of really doing a lot of really cool stuff with the PSVR, and this is a VR game. It's
Oh my god.
Panzer Dragoon Voyage Record is what it's called.
Okay.
VR.
It's like what Nintendo does with its DS games, having the whatever they're called as the initials D in it. Resident Evil Deadly Silence.
Mm-hmm. So apparently, what this is it's a VR experience based off of events that happen in Panzer Dragoon 1, 2, and Saga.
Oh my god. Oh, yeah, great. Based on events that happened in Saga, that game that people know.
Well, it's pretty cool because it's supposed to be kind of like a retelling of like certain events in there, so you can kind of
fair
get
enough, but like 10 people play Saga? Nobody has
Yeah,
Saga. I mean,
but
Japan probably does, but... Yeah.
At the very least, it'll probably be a really fun VR experience. I mean, like, plenty of its successors, including Rez, have been like fantastic VR experiences.
Yeah, Rez is... I still gotta try Rez in VR, but...
It's really
even without
fun.
Rez is freaking amazing.
The PSVR version of Rez is like the best. It's so much fun to play. But yeah, that and the 3D version of Child of Eden. Oh my god, playing that on a
I
on a
have
3D
not
screen.
experienced that on 3D, but that's gotta
So
be
cool.
outrageous.
So good. It's one of the only reasons why I wanted a 3D capable television, is just to play that, because it was cool as shit. But like otherwise, I couldn't give a damn about the technology. But I played it once, and it was like a formative moment. It was that cool.
Yeah, probably my craziest experience with Child of Eden was seeing it at, maybe it was PAX, so it was at like on a giant screen.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
real. But seeing it in 3D, man, it's a whole nother ball game. But I just wanted to put this out there because Panzer Dragoon hardly ever gets any love, and we're getting like 3 things like pretty soon coming up, so pretty cool. And this is pretty neat. Command and Conquer Remastered Collection, which has like basically all the old games up until I think Command and Conquer 3 or Red Alarm 2,
Red Alert,
whatever. Red Alert 2. I think Red Alert 2 is the last one that they made. So all of them are going to hit the PC on June 5th, and Limited Run is doing a physical edition, which is really neat. I just thought that was really cool. Command and Conquer games have kind of been AWOL for a long time, so it's cool that they're getting remastered and widescreen treatments and all that kind of jazz. So moving on from that, Platinum Games just put this out like as a tweet. I don't know if it's significant at all, but Madworld just had its 10-year anniversary. I don't know whether they're hinting at anything for the Platinum 4. We still have 2 games that are unannounced, but it'd be kind of cool to get a remastering of that.
Yeah, Madworld with like VR controls, or not VR controls, with like the Move controller or something,
or
same game,
just the controller. That would be pretty fine, and add content to it. That would be really cool. But just wanted to throw that out there. It ultimately doesn't mean anything, but sometimes when they kind of pay homage to an old series like that, it does mean that they're thinking about it. Moving on from that, Legend of Heroes Zero no Kiseki, which is the game that came before, or at least one of the games that came right before the Cold Steel games, Trails and Cold Steel, is one of the Trails games that has not been translated officially. This just got a fan translation after many years of being worked on. Very nice. You can buy the game digitally, legally, from a game called DL Site, I think, or Geofront. I think it's Geofront. Either way, there is a legal way to obtain the game and apply the fan patch. So if you want to experience the saga in between the Trails in the Sky games and the Trails in Cold Steel, as if you didn't have enough really long RPGs to play, this is really cool. It's really neat that they did this. I don't even know where to start with these games, because I have them all to play, and I know they're all long. I keep hearing
how great they are. I have Trails in the Sky 1 and 2 on GOG, and I
have all 3.
I may have the 3rd. I got Cold Steel 1 and 2 on PS3, and I got Cold Steel 3 on PS4. Yeah. But I haven't started any of them because
they're long as shit.
They're so intimidating, yeah.
But they're apparently really great, so this is a really good thing. I think that is the last one that needed to be fan translated out of all the main entries in the Trails franchise, as far as I understand. Let me Trails in the Sky. The series is very confusing because it's part of the Legend of Heroes series, which we've gone over in detail. It's one of the most confusing series ever. And the Trails games are kind of just the newest incarnation of that. But yeah, we have one more game that is still not complete, but I think they've been working on this as well. It's Trails in the Azure, or Ao no Kiseki is the sequel to Zero no Kiseki, which is Trails of Zero from Zero. So I think that's coming later. So at least you have some time to play that before its sequel gets its fan translation very soon. I think they've been working on this fan translation for over 5 years. Damn. So I mean, these games have more dialogue and more text than probably any other mainstream series. I'm pretty confident in that I could say that. I mean, the second game almost like killed somebody because like the undertaking was so difficult for them. So I mean, these games are no joke in terms of undertaking, especially from a fan standpoint, where you're basically only working on it when you come home from your day job. So really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Finally, Onion Games is the makers of the RPG uh, like cult classic Moon. It's actually kind of an anti-RPG, and also makers of Tulip and a lot of other games. They made Rule of Rose, Tulip, Moon, UFO, Lack of Love. Yeah, so Onion Games is like the newest incarnation of this company, which started off as Love to Lick and then moved on to be Punchline after that, and now they're Onion Games. So they are working on actually recently they put out Blackbird, which is a really good shmup. But apparently they're putting out a really fun promotion right now where you can sign up for their newsletter like via email, and they're going to give you a free mini game if you do that, which is pretty cool. So I definitely recommend just doing that because like they're going to give you a mini access to a mini soundtrack and all this other stuff that they're working on, and they're a really neat company. And Lotus has played a few of their games on stream, at least Tulip, right?
Nope.
You haven't played Tulip at all?
Nope.
I thought you did that for one of your Let's Plays. Sorry.
I did Rule of Rose.
Oh, okay. You did Rule of Rose. Okay, there you go.
That was a great, miserable game.
But what I'm trying to say is they're an offbeat company that's made a lot of like really cool classics and like cult games in the past, and it'd be kind of cool to just get a free game from them. So I would do it. It's really cool. Yeah, it's called the Onion Games starter kit, and you get it for signing up for their Onion Games seller. Let me see, what do they call it? The Secret Onion Seller, which is their going to be their like newsletter, which is pretty cool. It's kind of a retro thing to do too, like a newsletter. So it's pretty neat. Do you have any other announcements or anything else you want to go over
No, I think that's
while we
all I
have
can
the
think
floor?
of.
Okay. Well, that is the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. This week, we'll talk a bit about some of our favorite beat-em-ups. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, Twitter, and pretty much anything.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, I flaked for a moment there, and getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
Oh boy. We'll catch you later, folks. We'll catch you on Thursday.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.